Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Strategy Guide, where we show you how to get strategic victories and tactical victories in your favorite video games. Hey guys, M12 Warthog Gaming here. I'm back with another episode of Strategy Guide, and today in this Strategy Guide, I'm going to cover World War II with 52 nations, scenario in Age of Conquest 4. I'm going to show you what my top picks would be for starting out as a nation, and then go from there onward. We're going to explore a little bit of the map and show you the benefits of picking certain nations. And to begin with it, if you can see all of these nations that I pick right here, these are probably the worst ones, because some of these, like Slovakia, the only way for that one to expand is to immediately declare war on someone. And then when they do that, they instantly have to protect 2 territories after that. And it looks like all of them have fortified cities, so that's not going to be good. Same thing with Romania and a few others. Now, some of the ones that are on the coastline, though, could build a navy and go to other areas if they chose to. Turkey, on the other hand, is sort of good because it can sort of has room to expand at least one territory in each direction, but only one. If it goes, say, 1, 2, it would hit a border, and probably Bulgaria or Siberia or Albania would probably have gotten this one by then. Mainly Bulgaria, because it's like right next to it, and so forth. Now, there are a lot of Middle Eastern nations down here which seem to be close together, some a little bit more than others, so when you try to expand, you're going to expand right into each other. And that's a problem, as long as up here as well. Ukraine, Russia, they pretty much have room to expand. Norway, Sweden, and Finland have some room, wiggle room. I guess Denmark, but they only get like 2 different ones to choose from, and then they'd probably have to make a navy before they land to run into land borders with everyone else. Britain is pretty good, but I would definitely say either Russia or Kazakhstan would be the best ones in terms of area to expand. Ireland, you pretty much just have 1 territory, and then from there, you'd have to spend money to build the navy, sort of like what I did in the world map scenario, where I played as, the nation I played as was pretty much island-based early on. Somewhere in the Indonesia area, went down, got Australia, did that kind of thing. It's sort of going to be like that, and then try and land grab as much things as you can on the border. Portugal and Spain, I guess, because they don't have to directly fight each other, but I guess they could expand out this way or this way, depending upon which of the 2 you are. Northern Africa, these ones could all expand inward. We'll probably each get about maybe 3 to 4, maybe even 5 territories each. Egypt is sort of good because they can expand this way, get 2 territories. They could get 3 here. Meanwhile, they could end up moving over here and maybe getting 1 as well. So it's sort of like they have either 2. They have a small room to expand, but they could expand in 2 directions in that small area both ways. Now for this one, I'd rather go with Kazakhstan because it's more secluded for this scenario. And I have room to expand out here and here, and if people start to get too close to me, I can always go to war with them, and so forth. And it sort of allows you to go 1 step at a time, 1 war at a time with people. Meanwhile, Romania is probably going to try and declare war on several people just so that they have room to expand. And once they get to a waterway, of course, they're going to build a navy and sort of expand outwards. That way they don't have to directly go to war with someone and sort of claim unclaimed territory, as you can see that there's many of them. Do note, though, that each nation starts out with 1 territory in this scenario, unlike other ones where some have 3, others have 2, and then some have 4 and whatnot, and so forth. Now for this one, it really depends upon where you're going to start from, and I'm not going to do like a guide from starting from multiple different areas, but I will cover the generalization of what you should do if you're in that situation, but mainly going to be focusing on Kazakhstan, which is the nation I chose to play as. I think that's the best starting spot, in my opinion, for the strategy I want to deploy. So what I gotta do now is find it, scroll down here, and do this. Now, this is the World War II scenario, and there's a lot more nations than I did in the world map, which is 14, because that was ancient world. There was a lot of nations, more than 52. But the reason why there's like 52 and so many in this one is because when they refer to World War II, yes, a lot of the fighting was done in Europe and on the Pacific and the Atlantic, some on the Atlantic, I would imagine. But to the main extent, it was really almost every nation in some way or form was involved. For most of the time, I'm from America, so for the most part, we tried to stay out of it, and we just sent support to our allies. But then we realized that this is a bit more of a problem, and it will be a bigger problem for us unless we step in, and then eventually we actually send troops in. So in that sort of regard, I guess more than just the nations that you see here were involved, and that's why they pretty much refer to it as a world war. So, or as the Second World War, because this isn't the first time that has happened. So I started out with 100 troops, and I would imagine all the other places do as well. So what I want to do is get territory to start out with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send 20 this way. I'm going to send 20 this way. And 20 this way. And we'll get 3 territories early on. Now you see some territories didn't expand, but this one did. Down here. Some of these got 2 territories and whatnot. I actually have 3, so I'm a bit ahead. And of course, as the more territories, the more command points or action points you get as well. So I'm going to bring this back up to 100, and I'm going to move 40 units there. I'm going to take 20 and move it here. Now, as you guys can see, these territories here have small little tents. That's supposed to mean that they don't have a whole lot of population. This means they have a little bit more, but the giant cities really tells you that they have a lot of population. You'll be able to buy a lot of troops from there. Now, early on, these ones will pretty much be small, but you can increase their population and they just grow over time. But you can make that go faster by holding fertility festivals in said areas. Now, of course, before we go further, you can do that, also distribute one to increase happiness in a set territory. But in this case, you have the option in this crown menu to do that on a nationwide basis for all territories in your nation. Of course, the more territories you have, the more it's going to cost. Sometimes it's gone up to the point where you need 8,000 gold to do that. And generally, if you have that much, then generally, if it costs that much for a nation that big of a size, then generally you're getting several thousand to about, I would say, at least maybe 1,000 or so, or almost 1,000 per turn. It really depends upon how much the gold output is, but at least you're getting at least 700. Now the world leader thing, don't worry about that. We don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that until you get at least 40% of the world map and the person in second place has 34% of the territory or less. I'll go into details about that later on. Okay. Gonna move here. Gonna move in with 10. And then move 10 here. Now the reason why I'm doing that is 2 separate moves, even though I'm low on moves, is because those shorter armies move first, and I definitely want to expand into this territory here. And what I'm gonna do now is expand into this one. Now the reason why I'm not leaving 20 troops here is because if we own this territory, then this is not a border territory, and we're not going to border armed territories if it's not a border, because they're not going to be able to get attacked. Now, of course, they still were able to move in there before me, which is so totally not cool, so I'm just going to move 20 there. They moved in 12 there. I don't know how that worked out for them. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, of course, focus mainly on expansion. And I want to do this, but I figured I could either go with expanding. I want to expand, though, but I'm only going to be able to buy troops for 2 expansions, but only make 1 expansion because of our limited number of commands that we can input. Now, early on, I don't expect to build a navy because we're pretty much landlocked according to our starting position, and as you can see, I don't have enough command points to move. Action points are command points. I prefer to call them command points because you're the one commanding an army. Okay, so they're pretty much just taking my territory that I tried to expand into first. So, what I could do is declare war on them, and yes, that does sound like a good idea. But what I'm going to do, chances are, he's not going to have that, so I'm going to pay 50 to go there. What I'm going to do here is double our troops to 80. And I'm going to declare war on him because I do not like he's trying to cut me off. He has smaller amounts of troops that they're moving in, even though that I made mine smaller on purpose. And yet that didn't work. So I'm just going to go there. I cannot do that. Okay. I'm out of command points. I'm used to having a whole lot more, because I generally, most of the time, I end up expanding into set areas. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is expand here and sort of cut off his area from the rest of his, cut off this territory from the rest of his units. And now I'm going to move all of these directly here. Hopefully I can get him. Now, of course, they're probably going to send support to this territory, so this territory will be left open here. So the best thing I want to do is go there. Now I have another action, and I want to attack this area where they're keeping their troops, so I'm going to do that. Keep the pressure on them. Okay, of course they survived the attack because they definitely wanted to send support to their troops, yes. Now, what I want to do here is send 20 troops that way. Reason why I didn't pour all of them in there is because this territory makes this one a border. I guess if I owned this, I'd have 2 less border territories, but I don't want to declare war on Russia. They seem like nice people, but this person's like deliberately knowing where I was going to go and cut me off like early on, and it seems like he knew what he was doing was purposely pissing me off. So I'm going to go there, and what I'm going to do now is build a thing of 200 and then wait next turn for enough money for the embarkment fees, which is half of your half the number of your troops. So if you have 200, it's 100 for embarkment fees. 100, it's 50. 150, that makes it 75, and so forth. So I don't have a whole lot of money, so I'm definitely not going to be able to expand into said area, but I'm definitely going to want to keep an eye on this said border. I didn't get that territory because it was attacked by someone else, so I'm going to move 20 there, and I'm going to move 20 units here and attack this. The fact that I want to attack this before I attack their capital and get all of their things, which is a risk that these guys down here might have, is because they're at war with them. But if I prevent them from doing what they did before, that's all that really matters. But the reason I'm taking this out, though, is because They knew that I was going to attack them through a naval attack because this territory borders this water territory, and they saw, oh, 100 troops there. He's obviously going for our capital. So, quickly thinking, they did the best move to protect their capital, because once you lose your capital, you pretty much lose the game. This is domination victory. This is not supremacy, where you have to get 82%, I think. So right now, I really can't expand anywhere. But then again, I'm not really interested in starting any more wars until I finish this one. Maybe when I become a bigger nation and I can handle that, then yes. I also want to pick my allies carefully. Now this means tax season's next year. And that means I just get a bunch of money. Well, the money I get every turn is through taxes, but this is apparently the time where you get a butt ton of taxes money. See? What I'm going to do now is make 100 for a naval unit. If not, I'll just pour them back into here. And then we'll work from there. Ooh, they have a lot of troops on their borders. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm going to take out the Russians. Not that I hate them or anything, or that I hate Russian people, it's just that an opportunity was presented itself to me to defeat my enemy. Okay, so you guys want to know why I'm arming all of these borders. Well, it's pretty simple. Fact of the matter is that what I'm going to do is attack this area, cut off any support to this area here, and then have these two attack them on the same turn. Of course, I'm going to do that, like, next turn when I have more population to send at them and so forth. But for now, I just want to wait until next turn and take them out before I do that. Okay, they armed that a little bit better now. Okay, I'm actually going to send this back here, and that was a waste of money because my enemy has been defeated. Okay. I can make 100, and I'll send 100 there. The cities with higher population is what you definitely want to use to provide troops, and then send them to the territories that have lower populations. Yeah, they could easily do some damage to our border, into our territories if they wanted, but they can only move this army here, and I could counter if I wanted to, but if I take this out one turn, I could do that, but I'm doing something a bit risky. Very, very risky. And as a matter of fact, what I want to do is get from this city. That way I know I can guarantee get 54, move it there, and then prep myself. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is a bit risky, but I'm definitely going to declare war on them. Move this here. I'm going to move that there. Move this here. And I'm going to buy as many troops as I can from this area and send it over. Okay. So, at this point, they've fallen, and I've gotten myself a lot bigger territory, but now I have to worry about defending all of these areas. Luckily for me, I do not have to spend points on buying units in this area, because I can just maneuver troops there. Okay, now that I'm a little bit bigger, I can afford to increase my borders to 40 troops and still have money in reserve to spend more troops where more military action is being taken or being used. Okay, now I'm going to move this one more closer inland, and then we'll work from here. I don't like the fact that they have a whole bunch of troops on this border here. Okay, now I'm going to maneuver troops here, of course. I want to be careful who I start wars with, because one of the things that can happen in this game, which definitely happens a lot when you play the default map, is the fact that if you declare war on someone who has many allies, they'll all send me a message demanding that I stop any aggression towards them, otherwise they'll declare war on me and attack me. And that's pretty much what happened. As a result of one guy dying, it sparked the beginning of World War I. Many people, and then someone said, okay, now we're declaring war on you, and then this other guy says, well, now you're declaring war on him. I'm friends with him. I'll declare war on you, and so forth. And that's just... And then it just becomes a big whole mess of people making alliances and declaring war on people. And don't get me wrong, that can happen. Sometimes that can be good if you have a lot of allies. But if you're at war with your ally's ally, then they might say, I'm allies with you, but I'm also allies with them. I'll just stay out of the fight. Because when you play the ancient world, like with the rise of Rome or the fall of Rome, maps in the Mesopotamia area, which is this area, but it's like a little bit smaller, I guess, and the territories are drawn out a little bit differently. You pretty much end up with you could end up being allies if you're, say, like Gaul. You'll be allies with, say, the Greeks, the Romans, and the Carthaginians. And all three of them will end up later on being at war with each other, and all three of them will be at your throat trying to tell you, yeah, help me defeat this enemy, I'm like, but they're also your ally. Okay, Ukraine wants us to be their ally. Where is Ukraine? I'm gonna find it on the map. Okay, Ukraine, they have 3% territory, 7 provinces. That's not really a big idea. What do they want? Okay, so their opinion of me, they don't really have a good opinion, but they don't have a bad opinion either. I guess for now, being allies would be good. Okay. So, what do I want to do now is I want to get access to a sea so I can make a navy and do that. Right now, I only would have access to these 2 ports. Belarus. I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm sorry if I mispronounce a country you're from. It's just hard for me to do that. English is not my strong suit. It was never a good class for me. Although history, on the other hand, that is. Okay, so let me see here. If I'm going to attack 4-4, I guess I could eliminate them now. I mean, they have territory over there. Of course, they'd make their way, attack them, and then go to me. I don't know. Well, one, I want to get on my allies' good side, so what I'm going to do is send some gold to help them. Show him, like, I got your back. But the sad thing is that he's going to think I'm his friend, but, you know, this game is domination victory requirement, so eventually we're going to have to go to war with each other, Or in the end, he's going to have to recognize me as the grand ruler, as the best nation in the world. That would be minus 20. So that'd be 6. That is cutting it close. If it's like anywhere below 70, like 68, 65, anywhere around there, there's a high chance that that's your overall happiness throughout your place. But when it's under 50, no taxes are collected. But if it's getting close to like 65 or under, there's a high chance that at least one or many of your provinces have a very low happiness, and they'll probably revolt. Although it's easy, if you're a bigger empire and you get more money from taxes, it's easy to fix this problem. Whereas if you're about the size as I am, you have to pick and choose like 3 different territories to distribute money to. But for you, it'd be easy if you just go there. Right now I could do it with 207, but I don't have that kind of gold. I could save up for that. But then, of course, it's going to increase when I go and attack these guys. So, if I were to go, I'm going to wait, though. And I'm going to make sure I have enough money so I can increase happiness. Okay, so now I'm going to declare war on them. And I'm going to move here. I'm going to move here. And I'm going to move there. Now, of course, by doing that, I leave this border open to attacks, which means I'm going to have to rebuy more troops there. And that's what I like about this game. You can buy more troops on any territory you own, rather than just getting a set limit for your whole territory. It's more population-based than it would be like in Risk Factions. Okay, yeah, they received our support. They like us a little bit more. But I think anyway, guys, I think I'm going to have to end this video here of this part of the scenario. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, taking the time to leave any comments, questions, or feedback for me in the comment section down below would be highly appreciated. And I will see you guys later in another video. Bye-bye!